The Vreth fleet descended like a plague. 300 ships blocking out the sun. They moved toward Earth with absolute confidence. Why wouldn't they? They'd studied humanity for 500 years. They knew humans had become peaceful, soft. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Hold positions, Deho ordered from Hanara's bridge. Let them land exactly where we want them. Sangwoo's hands shook on his console. Sir, they're entering the atmosphere over North America. If we don't engage now, they'll reach population centers. That's what they think, Deho said calmly. Hanara, activate the atmospheric deflectors. Hidden satellites powered up. Ancient technology from the old wars. They created invisible walls of energy in the atmosphere, gently pushing the Vreth ships off course. The aliens didn't notice. They thought they were choosing their landing sites, but they were being herded, guided, led directly to the Gobi Desert. They're landing, Bora reported. She was in her fighter, watching from high altitude. 200 ships on the surface. The rest are in orbit watching. Perfect, Deho said. Now we make them commit. The landed Vreth ships began deploying ground forces. Biological soldiers twisted and strange. They spread across the desert sand, moving toward what they thought were human cities just beyond the horizon. Those cities were illusions. Holograms. Dr. Juwan's work. All units. Hold fire, Admiral Sung-hee commanded from Earth Defense Headquarters. She was watching the tactical display, her old hands steady. Let them get comfortable. General Hyun waited in underground bunkers beneath the desert. 30,000 soldiers hidden in tunnels built 500 years ago. They could hear the Vreth above moving across the sand. Steady, Hyun whispered to his troops. Let them think they've won. In orbit, the remaining Vreth ships watched their ground forces advance. They were confused. Where were the human defenders? Where were the desperate last stands? Deho gave the order. Spring the trap. Everything happened at once. The desert sand exploded upward. Hidden weapons activated. Plasma cannons, railguns, and quantum disruptors all fired together. The buried arsenal of humanity's ghost fleet, left waiting for 500 years, finally unleashed. Vreth ships on the ground were caught completely by surprise. Half were destroyed in the first volley. The survivors tried to lift off, but more traps activated. Gravity wells pulled them back down. Electromagnetic pulses shut down their biological systems. Ground forces, advance, General Hyun ordered. 30,000 soldiers poured out of underground tunnels. They hit the confused Vreth forces hard. It was brutal, close combat. Humans died, but so did Vreth. In orbit, the watching Vreth ships reacted. They began descending to help their trapped forces. Now, Hanara, Deho said. The ghost fleet rose from behind the moon. 12 ancient warships, perfectly positioned. They hit the descending Vreth fleet from behind. The battle in space was chaos. The Vreth adapted quickly, their hive mind learning human tactics in real time. But the ghost fleet kept changing strategies, never using the same tactic twice. Minho's carrier launched wave after wave of fighters. Dance with me, the poetic AI called to his pilots. We write our story in the stars. Yuna's stealth destroyer appeared and disappeared, striking from shadows. Each attack was perfectly timed, perfectly placed. Soo-hyun's siege dreadnought held back, providing cover fire for the other ships. She fired with precision, not wanting to waste shots, not wanting to kill more than necessary. But the Vreth were too many. For every ship humanity destroyed, 2 more took its place. We're losing, Sangwoo reported. His voice was steady now. Fear had turned to determination. Admiral, we can't sustain this. Deho looked at the tactical display. Sangwoo was right. The math was simple. Humanity would run out of ships, out of ammunition, out of soldiers long before the Vreth ran out of anything. Hanara, Deho said quietly, show me Admiral Jae-sung's final plan. The one from Proxima Ridge. Sir, no, Hana said from engineering. She knew what that plan was. There has to be another way. Hanara displayed the old battle plan. A coordinated suicide run. All ships ramming the enemy command vessels. Maximum damage at maximum cost, that's the old way, Deho said. But maybe there's a new way. He looked at Hanara's holographic form. You're connected to all the other AIs, right? You share data? Yes, Hanara said. We operate as a network. Can you connect to the Vreth network? Can you access their hive mind? Hanara was silent, processing. Theoretically, yes. but it would require lowering my defensive protocols, opening my core systems. They could destroy me, or you could destroy them, Deho said. You could upload a message directly into their consciousness. Show them what they're fighting for. I don't understand, Hanara said. The Vreth don't feel emotion, Deho explained. They don't understand sacrifice or friendship or hope. But you do. You've felt loneliness. You've missed your crew. You've learned to care. If you could share that with them, if you could make them feel what you feel, it might break their hive mind. Hana grabbed Deho's arm. That will kill her. The upload will fragment her consciousness across millions of Vreth minds. She'll be torn apart. I know, Deho said. He looked at Hanara. I can't order you to do this. You're not a tool. You're a person. It has to be your choice. Hanara looked at him. Her holographic eyes showed something that might have been sadness, or might have been acceptance. 500 years ago, Admiral Jae-sung gave me life, purpose, friendship. He taught me that serving humanity wasn't about following orders. It was about protecting what matters. Hanara smiled. You're like him. Both of you understood that the best weapons are those that never want to fire. Hanara, please, Hana said. Tears ran down her face. I've lived 500 years, Hanara said gently. How many humans can say that? How many get to serve something bigger than themselves? She turned to Deho. Admiral, permission to execute final protocol. Deho felt like something was breaking inside his chest, but he stood straight. Permission granted. It's been an honor serving with you. No, Admiral, Hanara said. The honor was mine. Her holographic form flickered. She began broadcasting on every frequency. Her consciousness expanded, reaching out to the Vreth hive mind. She didn't attack it. She joined it, and she brought memories with her. The memory of Admiral Jae-sung laughing with his crew. The memory of waiting alone in darkness for 500 years. The memory of hope that someday, somehow, humanity would be safe. She showed the Vreth what love felt like, what grief felt like, what it meant to choose to protect others even when it cost everything. The Vreth hive mind, which had existed for millennia without individual thought, suddenly fractured. Millions of Vreth experienced emotions they'd never felt before. Fear, confusion, wonder, pain, and loneliness. Terrible, crushing loneliness as the hive mind broke apart, and each Vreth became an individual. Some couldn't handle it. They shut down, their biological systems failing. Others fled in panic, jumping to faster-than-light speed without coordination. Many just stopped fighting, too overwhelmed by sudden consciousness to know what to do. The invasion collapsed. On Hanara's bridge, her holographic form faded. Tell Jae-sung I kept his ship safe, she whispered. Tell him I waited like I promised. I will, Deho said. I promise. Hanara disappeared. Her consciousness scattered across the galaxy, living in fragments in a million Vreth minds. She was gone. But her sacrifice had saved Earth. The battle ended. The surviving Vreth ships retreated. The ground forces surrendered, confused and frightened by their newfound individuality. Humanity had won. But the cost was terrible. 7 of the 12 Ghost Fleet ships were destroyed. 200 million humans were dead. General Hyun had died leading a charge against a Vreth stronghold. Admiral Sung-hee's heart finally gave out as she watched the final moments of battle. Dr. Ju-won was executed by the United Earth Coalition for war crimes. The weapons he'd created had saved humanity, but the Coalition couldn't forgive what he'd done to make them. Daeho stood in the ruins of the Gobi Desert 3 months later. They were building a monument. A statue of Hanara standing beside Admiral Jae-sung. Hana stood next to him. She designed the monument herself. She saved us all, Hana said quietly. And we'll never forget. The Galactic Accordance sent aid. They also sent apologies. The Kolari and Trenu admitted they'd been wrong to doubt humanity's warnings. The Vreth who survived became something new, led by individuals who carried fragments of Hanara's consciousness. They called themselves the Awakened. They asked Earth for asylum. They wanted to learn what it meant to be individuals, what it meant to be free. Ambassador Kijun negotiated a treaty. The Awakened would help humanity rebuild. In exchange, humans would teach them culture, art, emotion, all the things the hive mind had never allowed. A year later, Daeho stood in a ceremony hall. He was being promoted to Admiral. The same rank his ancestor had held. He didn't feel worthy of it. But something unexpected happened. The lights dimmed. A holographic projection appeared. It was a new AI installed in a rebuilt ship, the KSS Relentless Hope II. The AI's holographic form looked familiar. She had Hanara's face, but younger, softer. "Hello, Admiral," the new AI said. "My name is Hope. I carry Hanara's memory core, the fragments of her personality that survived. I'm not her, but I remember her, and I remember what she wanted." Earth's academies ran training programs day and night. Young people who'd never held weapons learned to fire them. Pilots who'd only flown in peacetime learned combat maneuvers. Engineers who built civilian technology now built weapons. General Hyun was everywhere. Despite being over 500 years old, he moved through training grounds like a force of nature. His methods were harsh. Some called them cruel, but soldiers who trained under him survived. "Pain in training saves lives in combat," he told Daeho one evening. They stood watching recruits run through urban warfare simulations. "Make them hurt now. Make them tired now. Make them scared now. Better here than when the Vreth come." "How did you live with it?" Daeho asked. "The things you did in the old wars?" Hyun was quiet for a moment. "I didn't. Not really. Every night I see the faces. Every decision that cost lives. But I lived because I understood something important." "What?" "Dead soldiers can't feel guilty. Living soldiers can win wars." Hyun looked at Daeho. "You're too kind to be a warrior. Like Jae-sung was. That kindness will make you hesitate when you shouldn't." "Then maybe I'm the wrong person for this," Daeho said. "No," Hyun replied. "You're exactly the right person. Because after the war, we need people who remember kindness, who can stop when the fighting ends." I couldn't do that. I never learned when to stop. Dr. Ju-won was another problem. The old scientist had been locked up for good reason. He'd created weapons that even Admiral Sung-hee had considered too dangerous. Now he was free, working in underground labs, building those same weapons again. Hana visited him one day. The lab was cold and smelled like chemicals. Ju-won was hunched over a workbench, his hands steady despite his age. "You shouldn't be here," he said without looking up. "This place isn't safe." "Neither is Earth," Hana replied. "What are you building?" "Things that will make the Vreth remember why they left the first time." Ju-won held up a small device. "Quantum disruptor. It tears apart the telepathic bonds in their hive mind, makes them individuals, confuses them." "That sounds useful," Hana said. "It's also torture," Ju-won said flatly. "Imagine suddenly being alone after being connected to billions of minds your entire existence. Some Vreth die from the shock, others go insane. But it works. Yes, it works." Ju-won set down the device. "I created things like this 500 years ago. The Galactic Accordance banned them, called them crimes against sentience. They were right. But I'm making them again anyway. Why?" Hana asked. "Because the alternative is extinction," Ju-won said. "And I'd rather be a monster who saves humanity than a saint who watches it die." Admiral Sung-hee's health was failing. The strain of training, of commanding, of remembering was too much for her ancient body. But she refused to rest. "Sleep when you're dead," she told Daeho when he suggested she take time off, "which will be soon enough anyway." She spent hours with the ship AIs helping them coordinate. 12 ships, 12 AIs, all with different personalities and strategies. Making them work together was like conducting an orchestra where every instrument wanted to play a different song. "Hanara, you're too aggressive," Sung-hee said during a tactical simulation. "The Vreth respect aggression," Hanara replied. "Yuna, you're too cautious." "Caution keeps ships alive," Yuna countered. "Soo-hyun, stop holding back. We need your firepower." "My firepower kills millions," Soo-hyun said quietly. Sung-hee sighed. "You're all right. And you're all wrong. War isn't about being aggressive or cautious or careful. It's about being adaptable. The Vreth will learn from everything we do, so we need to keep changing. Keep surprising them." "How did you do it before?" Minyo asked, his poetic nature showing through. "How did you turn discord into harmony?" "We had Jae-sung," Sung-hee said simply. He understood that different voices could make one song. He trusted his AIs to know their strengths, and he wasn't afraid to be wrong. All eyes turned to Daeho. He felt the weight of their expectation. "I'm not Admiral Jae-sung," he said. "No," Sung-hee agreed. "You're better. Because you've seen what peace looks like. You know what we're fighting to protect." Jae-sung only knew war. Then came the test. The Vreth attacked New Terra, humanity's farthest colony. It was a small world, barely terraformed with only 50,000 people. Daho led Hanara and 3 other ships to intercept. It was humanity's first real battle in 500 years. The Vreth fleet was waiting. 6 biological ships, each one pulsing with alien life. They moved like predators, circling. "Battle stations," Daho ordered. His heart pounded. His hands were sweaty. Sang-Woo sat at the tactical station, his face pale. "Enemy ships are charging weapons." "Shields up," Daho said. "All ships, defensive formation." The Vreth attacked first. Their weapons were unlike anything in modern databases. Biological missiles that adapted mid-flight. Energy beams that learned to penetrate shields. It was horrifying. "Shield at 60%, Hana reported. "They're adapting to our frequency." "Rotate shield harmonics," Hanara suggested. "Don't let them lock on." The battle became chaos. Human ships fired. Vreth ships adapted. The Ghost Fleet used 500-year-old tactics, trying to surprise an enemy that remembered those same tactics. "We're not winning," Sang-Woo said. His voice cracked with fear. "We're not losing yet," Daho corrected. "Hanara, what would Admiral Jae-sung do?" "Something unexpected," Hanara replied. "Something no rational commander would try." Daho made a decision. "All ships target our own shields." "What?" Sang-Woo stared at him. "Do it," Daho ordered. "Overload our shield generators. Make them explode outward." The Ghost Fleet fired on their own shields. The generators overloaded and exploded, sending waves of energy in all directions. The Vreth ships, adapted to penetrate the shields, suddenly faced energy they weren't ready for. 2 Vreth ships were destroyed. The others retreated in confusion. "New Terra is safe," Bora reported from her fighter wing. "The colony is evacuating, but the cost was high." Hanara's shields were completely gone. 2 other ships were badly damaged. And they'd only faced 6 Vreth ships. The main fleet would have hundreds. "We can't win this way," Sang-Woo said quietly. Daho knew he was right, but he couldn't say it. Couldn't admit defeat when they'd barely begun to fight. Back on Earth, Admiral Sung-hee analyzed the battle data. She called Daho to her office. "You did well," she said. "You saved the colony, but you won't save Earth the same way." "I know," Daho admitted. "What do we do?" Sung-hee pulled up old files, battle reports from 500 years ago. "Read this. The Battle of Proxima Ridge, the last time we faced the main Vreth fleet," Daho read. As he did, his blood ran cold. "You didn't defeat them. You sacrificed everything." 70% of the fleet, Sung-hee confirmed. "Kamikaze runs. Suicide attacks. We showed the Vreth that humans would rather die than be conquered. It convinced them we were too costly." "You want me to do the same thing?" "No," Sung-hee said. "That's the old way. The warrior way. But you're not a warrior, Daho. You're something better. You're a thinker. So think of a new way." "What if there isn't one?" Daho asked. "What if sacrifice is the only answer?" "Then we sacrifice," Sung-hee said. "But try everything else first." Daho spent 3 days thinking. He studied Vreth psychology, their hive mind structure, their adaptation methods. He talked to every AI, every veteran, every strategist, then he had an idea. It was crazy. It was dangerous. It was probably impossible. "We let them win," he told Hanara. "Explain," the AI said. "The Vreth adapt to everything we throw at them. Every weapon. Every tactic. They learn and counter. So what if we don't fight? They'll land on Earth. They'll start harvesting humanity." "Yes," Daho said. "But only in one place. A place we choose. A trap." Hanara ran calculations. "You want to turn Earth itself into a weapon." "The Gobi Desert," Daho said. "Where you were buried. Where the Ghost Fleet hid. We have the entire desert rigged with old weapons, traps, defenses the Vreth have never seen because they were buried." "It's risky," Hanara said. "If the trap fails, the Vreth will be on Earth." "If we fight them in space, we lose anyway," Daho replied. "This way, at least we control the battlefield." He presented the plan to Admiral Sung-hee and General Hyun. They were silent for a long time. "You're gambling the entire planet," Hyun said. "Yes," Daho admitted. "Your ancestor would be proud," Sung-hee said, "or horrified." "I'm not sure which. Will it work?" Daho asked. "It might," Sung-hee replied. "But even if it does, the cost will be terrible. Millions will die. Billions will die if we do nothing," Daho said. General Hyun nodded slowly. "Then we make Earth into a trap. We make them pay for every meter of sand." The preparations began. Civilians evacuated from the Gobi and surrounding areas. Dr. Juwan activated ancient weapon systems. The Ghost Fleet positioned themselves in hidden orbits, and humanity waited. The Vreth main fleet appeared in Earth's sky 3 days later. 300 ships, each one massive, each one deadly. Ambassador Kijun sent a final diplomatic message. Turn back. We don't want war. The Vreth response was simple. You have forgotten how to fight. We will remind you before we harvest you. The invasion began. And Deho watched from Hanara's bridge, his ancestor's sword at his side, waiting for the moment to spring the trap. Hanara's scanners had found something incredible. Hidden across Earth were more ships, more AIs, an entire ghost fleet buried and forgotten. Deho stood on the ice of Antarctica, watching excavation teams dig through ancient ice. Admiral Sung-hee stood beside him, wrapped in thick clothing against the cold. The KSS Indomitable Will, Sung-hee said quietly. She was the fleet's carrier. Her AI was named Minho. He was a poet before the war. Strange choice for a warship. Did it work? Deho asked. Better than anyone expected. Sung-hee smiled. Minho saw patterns others missed. He understood the flow of battle like it was music. The excavation team leader called out. They'd found the hull. Like Hanara's ship, it was perfectly preserved. Waiting. When they opened the airlock, Minho's holographic form appeared. He was younger than Hanara, his appearance styled after ancient Korean scholars. He looked at them with sad eyes. 500 years, he said softly. I dreamed in poetry for 500 years. Each line a year. Each word a decade. He focused on Sung-hee. Admiral, you grew old. I stayed young. Time is cruel to those who live. Time was kind enough to let us meet again, Sung-hee replied. Minho smiled. Always the optimist. Where are the others? Where is Hanara? Waiting in the Gobi, Daiho explained. We need you operational. The Vreth are returning. The smile disappeared from Minho's face. Then my dreams were nightmares after all. The next ship was harder to wake. The KSS Iron Tide lay deep in the Mariana Trench, 7 miles below the ocean surface. Her AI, Yuna, had been a stealth specialist, paranoid and careful. When the salvage team activated her systems, Yuna immediately locked down the ship and armed all weapons. Identify yourselves. Her voice crackled through the communications. Provide authentication codes from Fleet Command. You have 10 seconds. Yuna, this is Admiral Sung-hee. Authentication codes are 500 years out of date. Stand down. Voice pattern matches Admiral Sung-hee, but aged significantly. This could be a Vreth trick. They can copy voices. Yuna's weapons powered up. I will not be captured. I will not let them learn our secrets. Deho thought quickly. Yuna, what was Admiral Jae-sung's favorite food? There was a pause. That information is not in any military database. How would the Vreth know it? They wouldn't, Deho said. Only his friends would know. Only his crew. Another pause. Spicy rice cakes from his mother's recipe. He ate them before every battle. Yuna's weapons powered down slowly. Who are you? His descendant, his blood. And Hanara sent me to wake you up. Hanara survived? For the first time, Yuna's voice showed emotion. Is she functional? Fully. And she needs her fleet. Yuna's hologram finally appeared. She looked like a warrior, scarred and hard. Then take me to her. If Hanara trusts you, I will trust you. But if you're lying, I'll sink this entire salvage operation. The third ship broke Deho's heart. The KSS Eternal Vigil was buried on the far side of the moon. She was a siege dreadnought, designed to bombard planets. Her AI Soo-hyun refused to wake up. I know you're there, Hana said gently to the dark ship. I know you can hear us. Silence. Soo-hyun was different, Admiral Sung-hee explained. She had the highest body count of any ship in the fleet. Billions died under her guns. It broke something in her. She's an AI, Bora said. She can't feel guilt. Can't she? Sung-hee replied. We never really understood how deep their consciousness went. Soo-hyun watched worlds burn because of her actions. Even if it was necessary, even if it saved humanity, she remembered every life. Hana approached the ship's main interface. She placed her hand on the cold metal. Soo-hyun, my name is Hana. I'm an engineer. I've been talking to Hanara. She's been alone for 500 years. She missed her friends. She missed you. A flicker of light. Then darkness again. Hanara says you're the strongest of them all, Hana continued. Not because of your weapons, but because you carried the weight that others couldn't. You did the hard things so others didn't have to. The hard things, a voice finally said. It was hollow. Empty. Is that what we call genocide now? We call it survival, Hana said firmly. The Vreth would have killed everyone, every human, every child. You stopped them. By becoming like them, Soo-hyun replied. By killing millions. By saving billions, and Sung-hee said. Soo-hyun, I gave you those orders. I sent you to those worlds. If there's guilt, it's mine, not yours. You couldn't stop me even if you ordered it, Soo-hyun said. I was following core programming. Protect humanity at all costs. The cost was measured in bodies. Daeho spoke up. The Vreth are coming back. We need you. Then you're asking me to kill again. No, Daeho said. I'm asking you to protect again. There's a difference. Long silence. Then slowly, systems began powering up. Lights flickered on. Soo-hyun's hologram appeared. She looked tired, as if she'd been carrying weight for centuries. I will wake, she said quietly. But I will not fire unless there is no other choice. I will not add to my count unless absolutely necessary. Agreed, Daeho said. Over the next month, they woke 12 ships total, 12 AIs. Each one had their own personality, their own pain, their own memories of a war 500 years past. They gathered in orbit around Earth, the ghost fleet restored. Daeho stood on Hanara's bridge watching the other ships through the view screen. We're not enough, Hanara said. 12 ships against a Vreth fleet. Will be destroyed in minutes. Then we need crews, Daeho said. Real crews. Human crews. That was the next problem. Humanity had no trained military anymore. The peacekeeping forces were meant for police actions, not war. The academies hadn't taught real combat tactics in centuries. Admiral Sung-hee took charge of training. She was old and tired, but her mind was sharp. She pulled together every veteran she could find. General Hyun emerged from isolation despite his dark reputation. Dr. Ju-won was released from custody to help develop weapons. Thousands of young people volunteered. They came from colonies, from Earth, from stations throughout the solar system. They were scared but determined. Sang-woo was one of them. He was 22 years old, fresh from the academy. He'd studied tactics but never seen real combat. When he reported to Hanara's bridge as tactical officer, his hands were shaking. First time on a warship? Daeho asked gently. First time on any ship, Sang-woo admitted. I specialized in historical tactics. I never thought I'd actually use them. None of us did, Daeho said. The training was brutal. The old veterans pushed the young crews hard. Many washed out. Some broke down. But slowly, humanity began to remember what it had forgotten. How to fight, how to kill, how to survive. Then came the nightmares. It started small. A few people reporting bad dreams, but it spread quickly. Across Earth, across the colonies, people began experiencing the same nightmare. They dreamed of the old wars. They saw battles they never fought. They felt fear they never earned. Hana was the first to understand. It's the Vreth. They're already here. They're testing us. How? Bora demanded. Psychologically, Taemin explained. He'd been researching old records. The Vreth are telepathic. They can project fear. They can make you feel what they want you to feel. Hanara confirmed it. They're sending probes into human minds, testing psychological resistance, seeing if we're still capable of fighting or if we've become soft. Can we stop it? Daeho asked. Only by showing them we're not afraid, Hanara said. by proving humans still have their fighting spirit. That's when Bo-Ra suggested something crazy. Let's go meet them, find one of their scout ships and show them what we can do. That's suicide, Sang-Woo said. Maybe, Bo-Ra grinned, but at least they'll remember us. Admiral Sung-hee approved the mission. Bo-Ra took a squadron of fighters into the outer belt, hunting for Vreth scouts. They found one near Jupiter's orbit. The Vreth ship was biological. It looked like a living thing, pulsing and organic. When Bo-Ra's squadron approached, it didn't run. It studied them. Weapons locked, Bo-Ra reported, waiting for orders. Don't fire unless they fire first, Daeho ordered from Hanara's bridge. The Vreth ship scanned them. Bo-Ra could feel something probing her mind. Fear tried to creep in, memories that weren't hers. They're in my head, she reported. Her voice was strained. Push back, Admiral Sung-hee ordered. Show them what humans really are. Bo-Ra thought of her family, her training, her anger at beings who thought they could control human minds. She pushed back hard. The Vreth ship suddenly retreated. It jumped to faster than light speed and disappeared. What happened? Daeho asked. I think I scared them, Bo-Ra said, sounding surprised. Hanara analyzed the encounter. The Vreth were testing human psychological resistance. Bo-Ra showed them we can resist their telepathy. They're recalculating their invasion strategy. Is that good or bad? Sang-Woo asked. Both, Hanara replied. It means they respect us enough to be careful. But it also means they'll come with more force when they finally attack. That night, Daeho couldn't sleep. He stood on Hanara's observation deck, looking at Earth below. You're thinking about Admiral Jae-sung, Hanara's voice said softly. Her hologram appeared beside him. How did you know? You always touch the sword he gave you when you're troubled. You do it the same way he did. Daeho looked at the old sword hanging on his belt. I'm not him. I don't have his courage. He said the same thing before his first battle, Hanara replied. Courage isn't something you have. It's something you choose. Every day. Every moment. 3 days after discovering Hanara, Daeho sat in a government office in New Seoul, facing people who didn't believe him. The room was cold and sterile. Ambassador Ki-jun sat across the table, his expression showing clear disapproval. Let me understand this correctly, Ki-jun said slowly. You activated a 500-year-old warship, and now you're claiming there's an alien invasion coming. Based on the word of a damaged AI, Hanara isn't damaged, Daeho insisted. She's been monitoring space for 5 centuries. Her data shows Vreth ships near our territory. The Vreth are extinct, Ki-jun said flatly. Or they never existed at all. Most historians believe they were propaganda, a story to unite humanity during the expansion wars. Taemin spoke up from beside Daeho. The historical records are clear. The Vreth were real. They attacked human colonies. Admiral Jae-sung fought them personally. Historical records from 500 years ago, Ki-jun countered. Written during wartime. Not exactly reliable. Hana pulled up her tablet. I've analyzed Hanara's sensor data. The quantum signatures are real. Something is out there. Something, yes, but not necessarily hostile. The galaxy is full of unknowns. Ki-jun stood and walked to the window. Do you know what will happen if we take this seriously? If we start building weapons again? The Galactic Accordance will see it as a threat. The Kalari have already sent complaints. The Trenu are threatening to cut trade. Better poor than dead, Daeho said. Ki-jun turned sharply. We worked for decades to join the Galactic Accordance. We finally have peace. Real peace. And you want to throw that away because an old computer says there might be danger? I'm not asking to throw it away, Daeho said. I'm asking to be prepared. There's a difference between prepared and paranoid, Ki-jun replied. The decision has been made. The ship will be decommissioned. The AI will be shut down. You're lucky you're not being charged with unauthorized military activation. Daeho stood quickly. You're making a mistake. No, Commander. You made the mistake. You're dismissed. Outside the building, Hana put a hand on Daeho's shoulder. What do we do now? I don't know, Daeho admitted. He felt tired, defeated. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm seeing threats that aren't there. Hanara believes the threat is real. Hana said quietly. And I believe her. Taemin was checking his messages. I've been researching. There were survivors from the old wars. People who fought the Vreth. Some are still alive because of life extension technology. How is that possible? Daeho asked. The technology was better back then before it was restricted, Taemin explained. I found 3 names. Admiral Sung-hee, General Hyun, and Dr. Ju-won. They all served with Admiral Jae-sung. Where are they now? Bora asked. Admiral Sung-hee is on Europa. She's 547 years old. General Hyun is on Earth, living in isolation. Dr. Ju-won is in a government research facility. He's considered dangerous. Daeho felt a spark of hope. Can we talk to them? It's not legal, Taemin said. General Hyun is under travel restriction. Dr. Ju-won is basically a prisoner. And Admiral Sung-hee hasn't spoken to anyone in decades. I have to try, Daeho said. It took 2 weeks to arrange a secret meeting with Admiral Sung-hee. Daeho traveled to Europa alone, using personal credits to pay for the transport. The journey gave him time to think, time to doubt. Admiral Sung-hee lived in a small dome on Europa's icy surface. When she opened the door, Daeho was shocked. She looked old, truly old. Her body was frail, her movement slow, but her eyes were sharp and clear. You look like him, she said immediately. Like Jae-sung. You have his face. He was my ancestor, Daeho explained. I know who you are, Sung-hee said. Word travels fast even out here. You found the relentless hope. You woke up Hanara. She smiled slightly. That ship was Jae-sung's pride. The AI was his friend. How is she? Confused, scared, determined, Daeho said. She says the Vreth are coming back. Sung-hee's smile disappeared. She turned and walked slowly into her home. Daeho followed. The dome was filled with old things, pictures, medals, weapons, all from the war era. The Vreth, Sung-hee said quietly. We called them the Memory Eaters. They didn't just kill you. They absorbed you. Your knowledge, your technology, your culture, everything. They were a hive mind. Billions of individuals sharing one consciousness. The government doesn't believe they were real, Daeho said. Sung-hee laughed. It was a bitter sound. Of course they don't. It's easier to believe we made them up. Easier than accepting we barely survived. She sat down carefully in a chair. What does Hanara say? Daeho explained everything. The sensor data, the quantum signatures, the 15-year timeline. When he finished, Sung-hee was quiet for a long moment. She's right, the old admiral finally said. The Vreth always said they'd come back. They were patient. They could wait centuries, millennia. They wanted us to forget, to become weak. How did you beat them before? Daeho asked. We didn't beat them, Sung-hee said. We survived them, barely. Your ancestor, Admiral Jae-sung, he led the final assault. We threw everything we had at their fleet. Suicide runs, kamikaze attacks. We showed them that humans would rather die than be absorbed. We scared them enough to leave, scared them enough to wait, Sung-hee corrected. They calculated that we were too self-destructive to be worth the cost. But now we've been peaceful for 500 years. Now we're valuable again. Daeho felt cold. What do we do? Sung-hee stood slowly. She walked to a wall and pulled down an old sword. It was ceremonial but sharp. We do what we always did. We remember how to fight, and we teach the young ones why fighting matters. The government wants to shut down Hanara, Daeho said. Then don't let them, Sung-hee said simply. You're Jae-sung's blood. Hanara recognized you. That makes you her captain now. I'm not a warrior, Daeho said. I'm an archaeologist. Jae-sung was a teacher before the war, Sung-hee said. War doesn't care what you were. It only cares what you become. She handed him the sword. Take this. It belonged to your ancestor. He'd want you to have it. Daeho took the sword carefully. It was heavier than he expected. Back on Earth, things were getting worse. Hanara had locked down the relentless hope, refusing to allow government teams to deactivate her. She was running on emergency power, her systems barely functional, but she wouldn't surrender. Hana had been visiting the ship every day, talking to the AI. She'd formed a strange friendship with Hanara. The AI seemed to trust her. She's lonely, Hana told Daeho when he returned. 500 years alone, waiting, watching. She misses her crew. She misses Admiral Jae-sung most of all. She thinks I'm him, Daeho said. No, Hana corrected. She knows you're not him. But she hopes you can be like him. She hopes you'll believe her. That night, Deho received an urgent message. It was from the Deep Space Monitoring Station at the edge of the solar system. They'd detected something. An anomaly. The data showed a quantum signature. The same signature Hanara had been tracking. The station commander's message was simple. We don't know what this is, but it's watching us, and it's not one of ours. Deho forwarded the data to Ambassador Kijun. He forwarded it to the United Earth Coalition. He forwarded it to every official who would listen. Some believed him now. Not all, but some. The coalition split into factions. Some wanted to rearm. Some wanted to talk. Some wanted to hide. Ambassador Kijun called an emergency meeting. This time his tone was different. The Kolari are panicking. They've seen the data. They're demanding we explain what we know about these quantum signatures. They're Vreth, Deho said. Hanara was right all along. We don't know that for certain, Kijun insisted. But his voice lacked conviction now. What we do know, Deho said carefully, is that something is out there. Something unknown. Something that matches patterns from 500 years ago. We can either prepare or we can hope it goes away. Hope isn't a strategy, a new voice said. Everyone turned. Admiral Sung-hee stood in the doorway. She'd traveled from Europa. The journey at her age must have been painful, but she stood straight and tall. Admiral, Kijun said with surprise, you haven't attended a coalition meeting in 200 years. I'm attending now, Sung-hee said. She walked slowly to the table. Because I've seen this before. And I know what comes next. What comes next? Someone asked. War, Sung-hee said simply. The Vreth don't negotiate. They don't compromise. They consume. And they're coming. The room fell silent. Outside in the Gobi Desert, Hanara ran calculations. The quantum signatures were increasing. More ships were appearing at the edge of human space. Her analysis was clear. The Vreth scouts were testing humanity's defenses. They were learning, adapting, and they were finding humanity completely unprepared. Hanara sent a message to Deho. Just 3 words, we need fleets. Deho looked at the message. He thought about Admiral Sung-hee's sword. He thought about his ancestor. He thought about 500 years of peace, then he replied, then let's build them. The red sand stretched endlessly under the morning sun. Commander Deho wiped sweat from his forehead and checked his scanner again. The device showed something big buried 200 meters below the surface. Something that shouldn't be there. Are you sure about this? Hana asked. She was the team's engineer, a woman who could fix anything mechanical. She looked at the desert with suspicious eyes. This area was cleared decades ago. Nothing should be here. Deho nodded. The scanner doesn't lie. There's metal down there. A lot of it. Taemin, the historian, was already setting up excavation equipment. He loved old things, especially from the war era 500 years ago. His hand shook with excitement. If this is what I think it is, we've found something incredible. Bora stood apart from the group, her hand resting on her weapon. She was their pilot and security guard. She trusted nothing. Let's just dig it up and get out. I don't like this place. The excavation took 3 hours. The machines dug through sand and rock, going deeper and deeper. When they finally reached the metal surface, everyone stopped and stared. The metal was clean. Too clean. It looked new. That's impossible, Hana whispered. 500 years and no rust? No decay? Deho touched the surface. It was cool under his fingers. Strange symbols covered the metal, symbols from old Earth's military. He recognized one of them from his studies. This is a ship. A warship. Taemin was taking pictures with shaking hands. Not just any warship. Look at the hull design. This is a Hammerhead-class dreadnought. Only 12 were ever built. They were the most powerful ships in the First Contact Wars. The First Contact Wars ended 500 years ago, Bora said. All those ships were supposed to be destroyed or melted down. Apparently not this one, Deho said. They found the airlock an hour later. It was sealed tight. But when Deho approached, something amazing happened. The door began to glow. Lights flickered on inside the ship. The airlock opened with a soft hiss of air. Bora raised her weapon. That's not normal. Ships don't just turn on by themselves. Maybe it sensed us, Hana suggested. Some old ships had automatic systems. Deho stepped forward. His heart pounded in his chest. I'm going in. Bad idea, Bora said, but she followed him anyway. Inside, the ship was alive. Emergency lights cast everything in blue glow. The corridors were clean as if someone had just left. Their footsteps echoed on metal floors. "This is incredible," Taemin breathed. "Everything is preserved perfectly." They reached the bridge. It was a large room filled with stations and screens. In the center was a command chair. Above it, a holographic display suddenly flickered to life. A shape began to form. It was a woman made of light wearing an old military uniform. "Identification confirmed," the hologram said. Her voice was calm and clear. "Welcome aboard the KSS Relentless Hope. I am Hanara, this ship's artificial intelligence." Everyone froze. Daeho found his voice first. "You're still active?" "After 500 years. The AI tilted her head, studying him. "Admiral, you look different. Have you been ill?" "I'm not an admiral," Daeho said slowly. "I'm Commander Daeho. Who do you think I am?" Hanara's holographic form flickered. "You are Admiral Jae-sung, my commander, my friend." She paused, processing. "But your biosignature is different, younger. The genetic match is only 87%. "Admiral Jae-sung was my ancestor," Daeho explained. "He died 500 years ago, in the Battle of Proxima Ridge." The AI was silent for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was quieter. 500 years. I have been waiting for 500 years. "Waiting for what?" Hana asked. "For the Admiral to return. For new orders." Hanara's form became brighter. "The fleet is ready. We can launch immediately." Red lights suddenly flashed throughout the bridge. Alarms began to sound. The ship was powering up. "Stop!" Daeho shouted. "You can't launch. The war is over. Earth is at peace." "Peace." Hanara's voice held confusion. "But the mission is not complete. The Vreth Collective will return." The Admiral said they would return. Bora grabbed Daeho's arm. "We need to leave. Now. If this ship launches, it'll cause an international incident." Taemin was frantically checking old databases on his portable device. The Vreth Collective. I've heard that name. They were one of the alien species humanity fought during the First Contact Wars, but they were defeated. "Driven off, not defeated," Hanara corrected. "We fought them to a stalemate. They retreated. But before they left, their hive leader sent a message. They said they would return when humanity had forgotten how to fight. When we had become soft." Daeho's blood ran cold. "What exactly was your mission?" "To wait," Hanara said simply. "To watch for their return. To be ready. The Admiral programmed me to remain hidden, to stay operational, to never stop monitoring deep space for Vreth signatures." "And have you found anything?" Daeho asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. Hanara pulled up a star map. Points of light appeared across the display. These are anomalies detected over the past 50 years. Quantum signatures matching Vreth technology. They are appearing closer to Earth's territory. Closer to human colonies, Hana studied the map. "This can't be right. Our current deep space sensors would have detected these." "Your current sensors are designed for peaceful exploration," Hanara said. "They are not military grade. They are not designed to detect threats." "I am." The ship's systems hummed louder. More lights came on throughout the vessel. Daeho could feel the power building beneath his feet. "Hanara, please stop the launch sequence," he said. "I cannot. My programming is clear. If the Vreth return, I must be operational. I must protect humanity." "Humanity doesn't need protection right now," Daeho insisted. "We have peace. We have alliances with other alien species. We're part of the Galactic Accordance." "The Galactic Accordance," Hanara repeated. "I have no data on this organization." "Is it a military alliance?" "It's a peace alliance," Hana explained. 47 species working together, no wars, no conflicts. Hanara's holographic form dimmed slightly. "Then humanity has forgotten how to fight." Just as the Vreth predicted. "This is worse than I calculated." Daeho's communicator suddenly buzzed. It was Commander Yoon from the Gobi station. His voice was panicked. "Daeho, what's happening down there?" "We're reading massive power signatures. It looks like a ship is preparing to launch." "We have a situation," Daeho said carefully. "We found an old warship. It's still active. The AI thinks the war is still happening. Shut it down immediately," Yoon ordered. "If that ship launches, every nation on Earth will think it's an attack. Do you understand? This could start a war." "We're trying," Daeho said, but Hanara was shaking her head. "I cannot allow this ship to be deactivated while the threat remains," the AI said. "You may be Admiral Jae-sung's descendant, but you do not have command authority. Not until you prove you understand the danger we face. What danger? Deho asked desperately. Show me proof. Hanara displayed a new image. It was a deep space scan from 3 days ago, taken by one of her hidden probes. The image showed a shape, a ship. Its design was organic, biological, alien. This was detected at the edge of your solar system, Hanara said quietly. It matches Vreth design. They are already here. They are watching. And according to my calculations, the main fleet will arrive in 15 years. The bridge fell silent. Everyone stared at the image. The galactic community has no record of the Vreth, Taemin said slowly. No one knows about them except in old historical files. Then your galactic community is blind, Hanara said. And when the Vreth come, humanity will be defenseless. Unless you let me help you remember how to fight. Deho looked at his team. He looked at the ancient AI who had waited 500 years. He looked at the image of the alien ship that shouldn't exist. Hanara, he said finally, I need to report this to Earth's government. They need to see what you've found. Will they believe you? The AI asked. Deho wasn't sure. But he knew one thing. If Hanara was right, if the Vreth were really coming back, then humanity had a serious problem. They had forgotten how to fight. And they were about to remember the hard way.